And then the whole backside, you know, is out.
People say you're not funny.
They do?
Yeah. They say you're boring too.
That's really getting to know you.
It kind of grabs the berries.
Don't you have to do that? Yeah, I got you.
Why the fuck did you think it was okay to sex me before the game? What the fuck?
You were hard, weren't you?
So this is basically 90% of where I was for filming, but it's like.
You missed me, didn't you?
I fucking didn't. And I still beat your ass.
Barely.
Rachel Reid's heated rivalry has sparked one of the most fascinating debates about queer representation in recent memory. Spring of 2019 brought the publication of this hockey romance, and since then it sold hundreds of thousands of copies, earned strong ratings from tens of thousands of Goodreads reviews, and in late 2025 became an HBO Max series with overwhelmingly positive critical reception.
Leave me alone. No.
For the next 2 weeks, let's just be honest with each other. I don't think I can keep pretending I don't like you anymore.
But the success brought intense scrutiny about who gets to tell queer stories and whether this particular story qualifies as authentic representation. LGBTQ+ readers have rendered a fascinatingly complicated verdict. Many gay and bisexual men report seeing their own experiences reflected with painful accuracy, while others argue the book misses crucial elements of gay male life. The 2025 TV adaptation, directed by openly gay filmmaker Jacob Tierney, amplified the praise and intensified the controversy.
I think I'm gay.
What makes you think that?
Fuck you, you're not gay.
No, not completely.
What room are you in?
This looks serious.
It's not.
Okay, so you're gay, so what?
Well, it's kind of a big deal. To me, at least.
What emerges is a case study in how we evaluate authenticity in queer storytelling and whether we're even asking the right questions. Let's break down what heated rivalry actually is, who wrote it, how LGBTQ+ readers responded, and what this debate reveals about representation in 2026.
The more you learn about us, the more you realize that I'm actually probably more Shane in real life and you're actually more Ilya in real life.
What the fuck was that?
Alone?
What's the intimacy garment?
They call it a sack.
This is the most bleeping we've ever done on the history of the Tonight Show.
Heated rivalry follows Shane Hollander and Ilya Rozanov, rival NHL captains whose legendary on-ice animosity masks a decade-long secret romance. Shane captains the Montreal Voyageurs as a disciplined Asian Canadian who grapples with internalized homophobia and questions about his identity, while Ilya captains the Boston Bears as a flashy Russian who's openly bisexual in private but trapped by his country's anti-LGBTQ laws.
We're just not compatible.
So you and Rose Landry are not?
Yeah, not. Great pass.
Where I go? You should give us a chance to get to know each other. Compatible. I thought I knew what it meant, but I wanted to be sure.
She's great, but I feel like we're gonna hit a lot of that sort of thing this weekend.
Their relationship spans from 2008 to 2018, tracking an emotional slow burn punctuated by stolen hotel room encounters whenever their teams clash. Reid's Game Changers series now includes this book along with multiple novels and standalones, and the Long Game sequel arrived in 2022. Early 2026 brought the announcement of a third book depicting Shane and Ilya as married and publicly out. The sales figures tell a remarkable story, with the series moving hundreds of thousands of copies and heated rivalry accumulating tens of thousands of Goodreads ratings, with strong averages.
Did either of you read the book when you auditioned for this?
No, we didn't even know about hockey, smut, and romantic life.
Bestseller lists welcomed it following the TV adaptation's premiere in late November 2025, and that TV show triggered massive sales increases in just weeks. The series earned overwhelmingly positive critical reception, demonstrating the book's crossover appeal from romance readership to mainstream audiences.
Ilya, I'm gay.
You're not so gay you can fuck Rose Landry.
Oh my god.
I love you.
I love it.
I hate you.
No, you don't.
To understand why this particular book became ground zero for debates about authentic representation, we need to talk about who wrote it. Rachel Reid serves as a pen name for a Canadian woman from Nova Scotia who's married to a man. She hasn't publicly disclosed her sexual orientation, though speculation persists online that she may be bisexual, and that ambiguity sits right at the center of the authenticity discussion. A podcast appearance in early 2025 had Reid addressing the speculation directly. She noted seeing a lot of talk online about her own sexuality and that of members of her family as well. but stated she would never try to use her sexuality as a way of claiming she has the right to write these books because she doesn't think that's how it works.
Everyone has been so receptive and so nice and really good, you know, because it could get nasty pretty quick.
And it felt like we were something.
We can't be something, Hollander.
There are scenes that are super steamy and the fans can't wait.
This statement encapsulates her philosophical position where the author's identity shouldn't validate or invalidate the work. What matters, Reid argues, is being sensitive and thoughtful in approaching queer narratives. Her approach to writing these books followed a methodical path. She's confirmed consulting gay and bisexual men for feedback throughout the writing process, and her motivation came from personal frustration with hockey culture.
Do you want to come to my game tonight?
Oh, wow.
I have 2 seats. I'm not just a pretty face. Oh, but you're a very pretty face. You can't tell. If anyone finds out that it's a gay bar, and I was thinking that you could just come as my friend.
The first Game Changer book came from a place of her being angry at hockey culture and how clearly homophobic it was and is, as she stated. Reid's credentials as a hockey fan check out as genuine. Playing in boys' Pee Wee leagues in Nova Scotia in the mid-90s gave her first-hand experience, and she's been a lifelong follower of the sport. Character inspiration came from real NHL rivalries like Sidney Crosby versus Alexander Ovechkin, and she studied NHL documentaries for authentic locker room dynamics. But here's where opinions diverge sharply. Does research and consultation equal authentic lived experience? Queer readers have overwhelmingly embraced the book, but their responses vary significantly by identity and lived experience, and that's where things get interesting.
What the? I'm coming to the cottage.
The portrayal of closeted life resonated particularly strongly with gay men who recognize their own experiences of compartmentalization and fear. One gay reader wrote about the TV show that what he'd forgotten, until heated rivalry reminded him, was how painful and stressful and life-draining being closeted was, and seeing these old feelings expressed and evoked on screen brought them alive in a way they hadn't been for many years.
We get together, we fuck, we simple.
Simple. Bullshit.
You like tuna melt?
You wanna make me a tuna melt?
I was gonna make one for me, I can make 2.
It wasn't nothing. Don't act like that. This is hard enough without you being an asshole. And it felt like we were something.
We can't be something, Hollander.
I don't think I can keep pretending I don't like you anymore.
Not all responses landed in positive territory, though. Out magazine acknowledged that Reid's romance novel got written for a mainly female readership and doesn't quite capture all of the nuances of a gay-male relationship, with the piece arguing the TV adaptation under gay director Jacob Tierney brought a whole new understanding to the intricacies of gay love. One Goodreads reviewer wrote that he strongly disliked how down on himself Shane remained for most of the book and how Ilya used that and played with it in ways that made him uncomfortable.
Okay, so you're gay, so what?
Well, it's kind of a big deal. To me, at least.
Noting so much internalized homophobia and toxic masculinity, a Slate critic argued the narrative stays frozen in the past and resolves queerness in a deeply conservative way, suggesting that intimacy between men doesn't make characters gay until they publicly declare themselves. The critic faulted the story for missing engagement with gay social life and media that existed during the 2013 to 2018 timeframe. You've got this split where many queer readers find deep emotional resonance, particularly around the experience of being closeted, while others argue it misses something fundamental about gay male culture and community.
Hey.
Sorry. I wish I spoke Russian.
What room are you in?
How about you tell me everything that's on your mind, but in Russian?
Так сильно тебя люблю, не знаю, что с этим делать.
Like a clean hit, Hollander just did not see it coming.
And that's before we get to the sex scenes, which sparked more controversy than anything else. The explicit content in both the book and especially the TV show became the flashpoint for the most intense debate about authenticity and audience. A gay actor publicly criticized the TV adaptation's intimate scenes, claiming it's just not gay and not how gay people are intimate. The backlash came swift and overwhelming, forcing the actor to apologize, which one publication cited as evidence that the question of whether or not some heated rivalry viewers fetishize gay men is no longer a question but a fact. An openly bisexual actor in the show pushed back against this criticism by asking if there's only one way to have authentic gay intimacy on TV.
It's amazing. He's amazing. And I've never been happier.
He's crazy about you.
You're in love with him.
I'm not in love with him.
You are.
Dazed ran a piece from a bisexual male contributor who wrote that he fundamentally does not fear women's desire and that it's how people act that matters, not what they want. The Guardian offered perhaps the harshest critique by calling the genre content to exploit gay culture without understanding it in a meaningful way, describing what they saw as a weird kind of approach that removes certain aspects of gay men just enough to make them palatable, like pets for young women. That's a brutal assessment. Defenders counter that the explicit scenes serve narrative purpose, with one blog arguing this is craft, that if the viewer were receiving this narrative via a medium other than these scenes, it would be obvious what's happening, that the plot of the show is the push and pull between these two characters.
Fuck you, he played hockey for McGill.
Whoa, what the fuck is McGill? Is McGill a town?
It's a really good school.
So we just sit here and look at it.
Yes, we just sit here and look at it.
I will try.
Really?
Yes.
Another publication praised the intimate content as explicit, yes, but never gratuitous, functioning as release and escape. What's really happening here? Is this about authenticity or about discomfort with female desire for male-male romance? The debate reveals deep tensions within LGBTQ+ communities about ownership of representation, about who gets to desire whom, and about whether consumption of queer content by straight audiences inherently constitutes fetishization. To understand these tensions, we need to zoom out and look at the genre. Heated rivalry exists within. The genre where this book lives has dealt with contentious questions about authentic authorship for decades. Library Journal noted over a decade ago that romance is mostly written and read by straight women, a dynamic continuing today. The genre's roots in /fiction, yaoi manga, and fan communities mean it's always existed in this complicated space between queer representation and what critics call fetishization. The Own Voices movement, which YA author Corinne Duivis coined to uplift marginalized authors telling their own stories, became a double-edged sword. One blog documented how it went from uplifting writers who wrote their own identities to a stick for beating authors supposedly co-opting identities. Bisexual author Becky Albertalli got accused of being not queer because she's married to a man, as the blog cited, creating a parallel to speculation about Reid that should make anyone uncomfortable. Identity policing often ends up enforcing rigid definitions that harm the very communities it's meant to protect, and that's the problem here. Bloomberg Opinion called the debate around heated rivalry an unhealthy debate over who gets to tell the stories of marginalized communities, a debate that's proven harmful to closeted creatives in the past. Such discussions enforce a rigid litmus test for what counts as authentic storytelling. The piece argued, other prominent hockey romances like Him by Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy got written by women too, for comparison. Gay male author Tal Bauer represents one of the few Own voices in the subgenre, and Rachel Reid herself has praised other queer authors' work, calling one baseball romance the best sports romance she's ever read. Women write the vast majority of romance for women, and that's the reality. That's not necessarily a problem, but it raises questions about whose fantasies these stories serve and whether they're providing authentic representation or just packaging queerness for straight consumption. Let's examine how the book handles specific representation elements. When we look at the specific ways heated rivalry portrays LGBTQ+ experiences, the picture becomes more nuanced. Brock McGillis, one of the first openly gay former professional hockey players, told a publication the show may succeed in accurately portraying the kind of homophobia he and others have experienced in locker rooms. He confirmed the language and behaviors and attitudes that you get in locker rooms are sometimes homophobic, that it starts at a very young age and progresses through your whole life. McGillis expressed skepticism about real-world impact, though, stating he doesn't believe that many hockey bros are going to watch it. Shane's journey from denial to acceptance forms the emotional core of the book when it comes to internalized homophobia. Content warnings for the story include internalized homophobia, parental loss in the past, parental illness, and emotional mistreatment from a family member. And readers praise the nuanced portrayal, noting Shane's anxiety and overthinking make his internal struggle feel authentic to many. Reid's short stories and subsequent books explicitly confirm Ilya's bisexual identity. The Bisexual Resource Center praised the representation by noting that Ilya isn't saying he loves Shane because he's a man, but rather he's saying he loves Shane because he's Shane. Reid emphasized the happy ending as intentional counter-programming. The number one thing she heard from gay and bisexual men was how many fictional gay love stories end in unnecessary tragedy, as she said. This deserves a pause. The bury your gays trope has dominated media so completely that giving queer characters a happy ending is itself a political act, and Reid made a deliberate choice to reject the idea that queer love must end in loss or suffering to be taken seriously. And this decision exists against a very real backdrop. Here's a statistic that gives heated rivalry its weight. The NHL remains the only one of the Big Four major North American sports leagues with no current or former openly gay players. No openly gay players ever. Luke Prokop became the first player under NHL contract to come out in summer of 2021 and the first openly gay player in the minor leagues in late 2023, but he hasn't played an NHL game yet. Fall of 2023 showed the league's complicated relationship with LGBTQ+ inclusion, when the NHL banned Pride tape after certain players refused to wear Pride jerseys. The ban got reversed following backlash, but the You Can Play project stated that in just months, years of important positive advancements in the NHL and men's hockey at large have been eclipsed by disastrous choices, marginalizing or outright erasing the LGBTQ community. Heated Rivalry depicts something that, as far as we publicly know, has never happened. Two openly gay NHL players in a relationship. Against this backdrop, the show's real-world impact appears significant, with a hockey player publicly coming out in mid-January 2026 and directly crediting Heated Rivalry. Never in his life did he think something so positive and loving could come from such a masculine sport, as he said. One of the show's actors revealed on a talk show that closeted professional athletes have privately reached out to him through social media. These are tangible effects where real people make real decisions about their lives based on seeing themselves reflected in this story. Does it matter that the original story got written by someone outside the community if it's helping people inside the community come out? That's not a rhetorical question, but rather the central tension of this entire debate. The debate evolved from whether Reid has the right to write these stories to more nuanced questions about craft and intent and impact. Academic analysis from the conversation noted the show scores for queer visibility but also exposes the limits of representation. Characters still benefit from financial and other privileges that many LGBTQ people don't share and focus on traditionally attractive and fit and muscular and masculine presenting men, as the analysis pointed out, and this is valid criticism. Shane and Ilya are wealthy professional athletes who are conventionally attractive and masculine in ways that straight audiences find palatable. The story doesn't engage with effeminate gay men, with trans experiences, with the full spectrum of LGBTQ+ identities and presentations. The TV adaptation's creative team shifted the calculus somewhat. Director Jacob Tierney's identity as an openly gay man brings what Out magazine called a whole new understanding to the intricacies of gay love, and an openly bisexual actor's identity adds another layer of representation behind the camera. Rachel Reid serves as consulting producer and confirmed to one actor that Shane can be played as autistic, a portrayal praised by queer autistic viewers. The audience remains predominantly female though, with statistics showing over half the viewership is women, which continues to fuel questions about who the story ultimately serves. Defenders argue this reflects romance readership demographics, generally rather than evidence of fetishization, and GLAAD noted that more than half of LGBTQ Americans and a significant portion of non-LGBTQ people say they're more likely to watch a TV show if at least one of the characters is LGBTQ. So what's the answer? Is Heated Rivalry authentic queer representation? The question of whether Heated Rivalry is authentic queer representation resists a simple yes or no. The book succeeds remarkably at capturing the emotional texture of closeted life with all the fear and compartmentalization and longing. Gay former players confirm it reflects real homophobia in hockey culture. It provides bisexual representation that avoids common erasure tropes, and it delivers the happy ending that queer readers have been denied by tragic narrative traditions. Where it falls short, according to some critics, is in fully capturing the specific rhythms of gay male life and desire, which may be an inevitable limitation when any author writes outside their lived experience. The TV adaptation with openly gay creative leadership has been praised for closing some of these gaps. What emerges most clearly from this debate is that authenticity may be less about author identity than about approach, which means the willingness to research and consult and listen to feedback and prioritize the humanity of characters over their utility as vehicles for romance tropes. Rachel Reid's explicit refusal to weaponize identity claims, either to defend or accuse, offers a framework that moves beyond the sometimes toxic own voices discourse. She wouldn't use her sexuality as justification for having the right to write these books because that's not how it works, as she said, and maybe she's onto something. The book has undeniably reached queer audiences and prompted real coming-out stories where a hockey player came out specifically because of this story. Former players have had cathartic, if painful, experiences seeing their closeted lives reflected back, and bisexual readers feel seen in Ilya's portrayal. Some gay men criticize the intimate scenes as not reflecting their actual experiences, though. The story focuses on conventionally attractive and masculine and wealthy characters, got written primarily for female readers, and still draws a predominantly female audience. Both things can be true, where Heated Rivalry can provide meaningful representation that helps real LGBTQ+ people while also being shaped by its origins in a genre written by and for women. It can authentically capture the emotional experience of being closeted while missing some specific cultural touchstones of gay male life. Representation may never be purely authentic or inauthentic, but rather exists on a spectrum shaped by craft and intent and impact, and that's perhaps the real lesson here. Readers from the represented community remain the most important voices in evaluating where any given work falls. The fact that those voices are so divided on Heated Rivalry tells us something. There's no single gay male experience, no single way to be bisexual, no universal standard for what counts as authentic. Some gay men saw themselves completely in Shane's internalized homophobia, while others found it excessive and rooted in outdated stereotypes. Some bisexual readers felt validated by Ilya's portrayal, while others wanted more engagement with bi community and culture. Rachel Reid did her research and consulted sensitivity readers and brought genuine knowledge of hockey culture, and wrote characters whose emotional journeys resonated with many queer readers. She also wrote from outside the lived experience of gay and bisexual men, primarily for a female audience, within a genre that has a fraught relationship with queer representation. The NHL still has no openly gay players, and hockey culture remains aggressively masculine and often homophobic. In that context, a book imagining two gay NHL captains finding love and going public with their relationship is both aspirational fiction and a challenge to the status quo. Is it authentic? That depends on who you ask, what aspects of authenticity matter most to them, and what they believe fiction owes to the communities it represents. And there's no consensus among LGBTQ+ readers themselves. And maybe that's okay. Maybe the conversation itself about who writes queer stories and how they're received and what impact they have and who they ultimately serve is more valuable than any definitive answer. What we can say definitively is this: Heated Rivalry sold hundreds of thousands of copies, inspired a hit TV show, and helped at least some queer people see themselves and come out. It also prompted discussions about representation and fetishization and the limits of writing outside one's identity, with both the praise and the criticism coming largely from LGBTQ+ readers engaging seriously with the work. As debates about representation continue to evolve in 2026, Heated Rivalry stands as a fascinating case study in the complexity of these questions. It proves that authenticity in queer representation isn't as simple as checking the author's identity box, and maybe we need to keep the conversation going rather than searching for easy answers.